Oh, the microphone's not on, or the microphone is on, the camera's not on. Got to figure out a good place to put this mic now. Change things around a little bit. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I know. It's I said I was going to start at noon, and got into a meeting, and now suddenly we're starting at 1. So I do apologize. Anybody even get the notification for this show? I'm not sure. Are you ready? All right, here you go. Hey, look at me. I shaved the beard. Promised you that I would last Friday. Now look at me with the beard shaving. Hi, Peter. Yes, Peter, it is really me. I apologize. I was all set. I was in here bright and early here in the fabulous E Gallery, which is now being rebranded as Dragon Art Park. That's right. Got here at 9 a.m. to Dragon Art Park. Started doing my work, put trivia together for tonight. More on that in a moment. And I was all ready. I'm like, yeah, let's go at noon. And then, of course, because, this is a loss leader as far as income is concerned, I had to go deal with, the business of the Dragon Art Park. More on that coming soon. There's video. What do you mean no video? I turned the camera on. There was no camera in the beginning, but now there's a camera on. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, there is a problem with the camera. Oh, hold on. I got an issue with the camera. Hi, Taronda. Hold on. Give me a second. Get that opened. All right. Okay. And there we go. Okay. I think that's good. I think we're good. We got Peter. We got Taronda. We got Jeff. Anybody else? I'll wait. I'll wait for everybody. Come on. You post up in the chat room. You at least got to say hi once. Otherwise, I feel like this isn't a thing. It's not real unless there's at least 5 people. At least in the chat room. I don't understand it because I see the numbers for the listening of the show, and there are way more people that listen to this show every day than are actually in the chat room. Now, I understand that has a lot to do with people not listening when it's a live stream, but I would really have hoped that this chat room would have been a bit more bumping. It has. There's Barney. There we go. We'll call that 5. Jeff Ballard, of course, has some shit talk. I would expect nothing less. When you're a guy, look, this isn't him being mean. When a guy friend of yours makes a conscious change to their physical appearance, it is incumbent upon that guy's friend to let him know instantly that it was a terrible decision and that he looks absolutely bizarre now. That's not personal. Now, the women in your life, they have to, soft shoe it a little bit more. But your boyfriends, that's fucking weird. My grandma used to say that. My grandma used to call my friends, my dude friends, she used to call them my boyfriends. It was always weird because she didn't mean it. They were boys and they were my friends. Where are all your boyfriends today? I'm like, oh, Jesus, Graham. It's 1983. That means something else. Hi, Byron. Byron's here. Byron says very kids in the shetty. What does that mean? What's kids in? I don't know. I don't know what kids in the shetty is. I look. I don't know. Sometimes I look at it. Certain looks. Like if you just look like this, I look like a strong man in a circus. If you just don't see my bell-shaped, middle-aged, fat-ass body, but just the head, it's like, like that. But then other times I think, maybe I kind of look like a cop. Hey, ain't nothing to see here. Yeah, just move around. Go ahead. Ain't nothing to see here. Like a cop sometimes. I don't know, but the decision, of course, to shave the beard came after 2 incidents that I found to be incredibly disturbing. One, I was referred to as the older gentleman with the white beard. That was like, wait, what? Who's got a white beard? I don't have a white beard. I have a beautiful auburn, red, brown beard. What do you, white? Right? So somebody said that last week. I overheard it. Crushing. And then I was at the Kroger doing self-checkout, and I looked up at the monitor, and I went, who the fuck let Santa Claus in here? White beard. I was like, I got a white fucking beard. And my buddy, and I won't call him out because vanity, is something very private to people. So I won't call Schwartz out by name. But I have friends who shave or who color their beards, and they look great. They look amazing. This particular friend of mine who, let's call Dr. Schwartz, this guy uses dye. He's older than me. He looks 15 years younger than me. He's handsome. He looks great. It works for him. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, I dye my beard. Looks better, right? But I don't want to be that guy. I can't be that guy. I'm not a handsome, plastic surgeon. I can't pull that shit off. I'm a regular guy. So I decided I was going to stick with the mustache because the mustache still has some of the auburn quality to it, some of the nice brown. So that's why I went with the mustache and why I look like a fat strong man from a turn of the century sideshow. All right. Hi, April. April wants me to bring the beard back. Honestly, April, I don't think the beard is coming back. I don't think the beard is coming back. I appreciate your feeling on it, but no, I don't think the beard is going to come back. Here's why. Can I tell you why I don't think the beard is coming back? I started growing a beard about 20 years ago, maybe even more. I've never had a beard or a mustache. I was always clean shaven until I think I came to Dallas. And then I started growing the beard, and it was always fashionable, right? It was never like shocking to what the expectation of a beard was. I didn't look like I was in the Taliban, right? It was it was clean, it was trimmed. I had a good beard for about 20 years. Then the whole hipster Mumford and Son bullshit started, and every fucking hipster bartender in America started to grow a beard, and then their dad started to grow a beard, and now everywhere you look, everybody's got a fucking beard. So my beard is gone. All right, I want to be with everybody else. It used to be weird to have a beard. I don't know if you guys remember the 70s and 80s, but beards were not common. No, people clean shaves. Mustaches were very common in the 70s. The mustache without the beard. But then all of a sudden, right around 2002, 2003, and maybe it did have something to do with the 9/11 guys and their beards. Maybe some dudes in America went, you know what? Those people are awful, but their facial hair is something that I feel inspired by. And now all of a sudden, every musician, every bartender, every hipster. Oh, I love this look, this hipster look. You see this a lot. You'll see like a 22-year-old who was behind a bar at someplace, and they're dressed like a driver's ed teacher from 1978. They wear ironically, fashionably, I guess, they wear the Dahmer glasses. 22-year-old hipster bartender, handsome guy, got the Dahmer glasses, got the Hitler SS haircut, where it's like, kind of a lot on top and shaved on the side, that kind of thing. But then they'll wear like a members only jacket. Hey, look at how ironically cool I am. I'm like, dude, I'm from 78. You look like Mr. Winters, the driver's ed teacher. And this is getting you laid in 2025. Anyway, the hipsters kind of ruined the beard for me. So I'm going away from the beard. I'm going with the mustache for now. We'll see. Shaving every day is not something that I trim. I trim every day, and that's easy. But the full-on shave every day is difficult. So we'll see how that goes. Barney says the beard thing may have been inspired by the Special Forces guys. I think to some extent, but I think it's the hipsters of 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 that really made the beard popular. Oh, and then there's another factor that made, everybody wearing a beard. COVID. Everybody grew a COVID beard. People who didn't have beards, suddenly COVID came in and they're like, it's a good time for me to grow a beard since I won't be leaving my house for 2 years. And then when they left their house, they're like, I'm going to enter the world of bearded guy now. I'm beard man. Everybody's got beards. I'm just tired of being like everybody else. Hi, Frankie. Adam's here. The goat's here. Get some more people in here. Okay, very good. Come one, come all. Let's tell you about what's happening on today's show. We've broken the news about my facial hair. Okay, that's good. Tonight, come one, come all. It is Trash Trivia Tuesday tonight at the Back Nine, bitches. That's right, the Back Nine, the original home of Trash Trivia. It's growing by leaps and bounds. Pretty soon, we'll probably be at a place within walking distance from your house. Let's find out. But today, we're at 4060 Beltline Road. That's in Addison, Texas. It's the Back Nine. It's original Trash Trivia at the Back Nine. Last night, we did Game Night. Game Night at Strokers here on Harry Hines. Game Night at Strokers is different than Trivia at Back Nine. Back Nine is stone cold, straight up, 2 rounds, original trivia. I write original questions for that. Mondays at Strokers, that's game night, man. We do everything. We play paper football. We play trivia. We play one round of trivia. Then we do music bingo for a big part of the night. I am loving the music bingo that Trash Trivia has rolled into their Trash Trivia Games DFW on Facebook. They've rolled in now music bingo, and that's really good. Music bingo has been going really well on Wednesdays at Bottle Rockets. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Tonight, it's all about Back Nine, classic trivia. So let me give you tonight's categories. Our 2 rounds of trivia for tonight at the Back Nine, if you are going to attend. Here we go. We're going to start out round 1. We do random trivia. It's just random trivia. Anything could be geography, history, pop culture, entertainment, stupid stuff, whatever. It's random. It's designed to get the trivia mind loosened up. All right. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm just going to start working. Random is category 1. That's followed in round 1. Category 2 is current events. Anything that's happened in the past 7 days, I may have a trivia question about it. What do you remember? How closely have you been paying attention? That's why we do category 2, current events, in round 1. Category 3 in round 1, that's going to be Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom. Questions about animals. That's pretty much it. It's all questions about animals. Category 4 in round 1, iconic people. The answer to these questions will all be inarguable icons. These are all big names. Answers to category 3, iconic people. Round 2, we start out with random again, light stretching. Then we go to category 2 in round 2, which is history. It's kind of a traditional trivia subject. History. We'll see how much you people remember from middle school history class, because honestly, the questions aren't much tougher than that. Then we're going to go category 3 in round 2. We got fake names. Fake names. I'll give you a little bit of information about the person, and then I will tell you their birth name, the name they were born under, and you got to tell me, who am I talking about? Who is this person? Category 4 in round 2 will then be big hit trivia. That's right. It's a movie category, but all the answers are big hits. I'm not going to do any like sideline films or indie, sleeper hits. No, big hit films is category 4 in round 2. So that's tonight, starting at 7:30. Come one, come all. It's our weekly event. We hold it there at the Back Nine in Addison, 4060 Beltline Road. Our fine partner, American Metal Whiskey, makes it all possible. So come on out tonight. Won't you? Okay. That's pretty good, I guess. Right? All right. That's pretty good. All right. Let's get rid of that. We can make that go away. We'll bring it back later. Let's go back to the chat room and see what we got. Chat room. Anybody new pop in? Let me see. Jeff says, no, Frank, the stash grew up hugs. Yes. Yes. That is exactly how to look at it. The mustache was always there. It's everything else that had to form around. I didn't grow the mustache, Frank. The mustache was always there. What do you think? I was walking around like an Amish dude? Had the full beard and no mustache? That look was attempted. Remember? Yeah, you all know an idiot friend of yours who for about 6 months back in 2011 had a beard but no mustache. And he's like, I'm gonna be risky. I'm gonna rock this. Like, that's his inner monologue. I'm not real comfortable with it, but I don't know. Amish people, maybe that'll be ironically cool. Well, it wasn't. It was a bad look and nobody ever took to it. So if you're still walking around with a beard and no mustache, make the change, friend. Little godly advice from a guy who specializes in facial hair. I do. I specialize in facial hair, and I'll tell you why. Because I can't grow it up here. And when you can't grow it up here, you start to focus on what you can do down here. Never gone the lamb chop route yet with the big lamb chop sideburns, but I can tell you, I wouldn't rule it out. Wouldn't rule that out for maybe spring of 2028 rollout. Suddenly I'm on here. I got the big lamb chops. I'm on here. Like, I'll still be doing this in 2028. Let's be real. Yeah, Barney, it's the Mose. Remember the Mose from The Office? That was Mose. That was Dwight's brother. He had the Amish kind of thing happening. By the way, I think Mose, the guy who played Mose is what's his name? I can't think of his name, but he's like the genius behind it all. He's like the main writer for The Office and created Parks and Recreation and all that. I can't remember that guy's name. Who? Okay, now I got to know. Who played Mose on The Office. Michael Shore? Who played Mose on The Office? Let's see. Michael Shore. Yeah, that's it. Michael Shore played Mose. See, look at this trivia. A little fun fact. Michael Shore is an American television writer, producer, director, and actor. He started his career as a writer for Saturday Night Live before gaining acclaim as the head writer and producer of the sitcom The Office. Boom. He would then go on to create Parks and Recreation with Greg Daniels is his partner. Not partner, not like Hollywood. Oh, it's his partner. No, it's like his business partner. It's like that. Created Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Good Place, Master of None, and Hacks. Holy shit. This guy is a baller. Michael Shore. There you go. That's Mose. He wore the Mose beard. He might be responsible for it. Thank you, Barney. I see it now. Barney's like, it's Michael Shore. Well, I already looked it up. Google's faster than you. All right, what else do we have to mention? We threw a rave here over the weekend. I don't know if you were, you didn't join me. You didn't, because 4 of you were here, and I know who you were. I wrote your names down, and I appreciate you greatly. 4 of you showed up for my Saturday Night Live watch. Thanks. Appreciate that. Now I know it's special streams. Don't do dick. Nobody, like usually you do something like that, you think you'll get somebody from fucking Poland or Australia popping in because it's a live stream at a random time about a subject that a lot of people are interested in. No, nothing. Saturday night, did a live watching party. We'll never do it again. It was awful. We'll talk about that too. We'll get into the whole Saturday Night Live thing. It debuted over the weekend. I'll give you my full review. But I was here because we were doing a rave. That's right. We did a rave over here at the E-Gallery. I don't know if you guys saw this video. I still can't believe it. I'm like a 1,000,000-year-old man, and I'm like having to hang out with a bunch of rave kids. I wasn't hanging out with rave kids. I was just in the adjacent set of offices, if you will. But here, this is how it started. Look at this. This is the beautiful E-Gallery. This is me exiting the Radio Misfits Dallas studio. Can you hear that weird music? That's like weird rave music going on. And you can see how it's kind of smoky. That's like this dry ice or something, whatever that they were using to fill the room. Hey, there you go. There's our old little statue, our own little lawn jockey. All right, this is one of the halls of the E-Gallery. You can see we got it roped off back here. Okay, so this is like a whole big area. We got it roped off. All right, so this here, where this light is here in the fabulous E-Gallery, this is the bathroom and kitchen complex. It's a whole big room. There's a kitchen in there. There's a bunch of bathrooms. You can see how it's gated off here. You can't come into the E-Gallery, but back here on the left, inside these walls, is a massive, like 30,000 square foot space. We're going to start throwing concerts and parties and all that stuff here at the fabulous Dragon Art Park. But here you go. All right. That's let me take you inside the rave. That's probably what you want to see. You're like, Pugs, that picture, that was boring, that video. Why don't you take us inside? All right. This was it had started at 10, so these are the early ravers. But this place was packed. It was really jammed here. So I'll take you inside. I'll let you see. Okay, we can close that. I got too many windows open, people. Bear with me, okay? Here we go. Let's see, is that it? No. Is that it? Yeah, there we go. Here we go. This was the big rave at the Dragon Art Park, the first event that we threw. This was Saturday night. It turned it into a disco back there. No troubles, no problems. All the kids were behaved well. So, yeah. So that's why I was here late Saturday night. I wasn't here the whole night. I didn't stay for the whole rave because Daddy needs his sleep. But, you get it. It was interesting to see how raves have changed since 1992. And you know what? They haven't changed at all. It's exactly the same thing. Jeff Ballard says John Hinckley Jr. live at the E-Gallery. Well, at the Dragon Art Park. Within the E-Gallery. Yeah, let me tell you, I've been doing the dance with John Hinckley Jr. now for a couple of years. At one point, I was speaking to his representative, who I got to tell you, I believe to be him. I don't think he's got a representative. It was via email. So, yeah, that is one of the things that I would love to do here. Pugs Presents John Hinckley Jr. at the Dragon Art Park. Let's do it. And if we can't promote that, come on. Jeff, you got to fly in for it. I'm just saying, you got to fly in for it. You can stay here. I got a little bed and a cot here at the studio. You can crash here. There you go. Barney says, I watched SNL yesterday. I don't know how to watch it live. You don't know how to watch it live? You have Peacock? It's on Peacock. You can use, if you have the Peacock app, it streams live on the Peacock app. So you got Peacock. I don't want to bury the lead on what we're going to be talking about in my quick SNL review, but you didn't really miss anything watching it live. I got to tell you. Old Man reviews SNL season 51 coming up today. Let's see. What else do we need to talk about? Let's go through some of the quick top stories. Trump met with Canadian Prime Minister Carney, right? Oh, yeah, you righty crazies are big mad that it's not the Aladdin genie blackface guy anymore. What was his name? The Nepo baby of Canadian politics. Trudeau. That's who it was, Trudeau. You guys are big mad. Now you got to deal with a guy who looks like one of yours. The guy who runs Canada looks like John Cornyn or Johnson. What's his name? Johnson from Wisconsin. Ron Johnson. He doesn't look hateable. He's not like a handsome young guy. Like, that's why, let's be honest, that's why a lot of people hated Trudeau. He was a handsome young guy. He seemed like he was, he seemed like Hollywood handsome. Like, that's why you didn't like him. You could smell the liberal in him. This guy, Carney, he comes in, again, he looks like John Cornyn ate Ron Johnson. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't much care. It's Canada. Canada, we love Canada. Well, do we? I do. I've never stopped loving Canada. Canada's our little brother. Canada's America's little brother. Little sister. Let's call Canada our little sister. That's how we feel about Canada. We're protective, but we also want to boss them around. We want to tell them, that there's a lot of creepy guys out there and you got to be careful. That's also why we don't like Mexico. Mexico is like the creepy guy that's trying to get with Canada, and we're America. We're like, no. It's not how it works. We're the big brother. Attorney General Pam Biondi got in front of Senate today. What are they working for? No paycheck? Pam Biondi, the Attorney General, goes in front of the Senate today, and I don't know. I saw Klobuchar, you're the worst. And then, some conservative guy, he's like, you're the best. And, that's stupid. Pam Bondi's the worst. Just objectively, she's the worst. Not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm not MAGA or a libtard. She's the fucking worst. She doesn't know what she's doing, and she's just obviously taking her orders directly from the executive branch. And that is not how we set this fucking thing up. But whatever. So she's getting grilled by the Senate today. Conversion therapy. Supreme Court's hearing arguments today over a ban on conversion therapy. That's the thing where you can pray the gay away. Good luck with that. You ever noticed how the people who represent these pray the gay away conversion therapy things, they're always, they've always got a story about how, they were gay. I was gay until I was 23. And then my wealthy father died, and in his will, he said, you can't be gay anymore. So Jesus saved me, and now I'm not gay, and now I'm running this conversion therapy thing. You ever notice how those dudes are always the faggiest fucking dudes in the room? No matter what. The Christian pray the gay away guy, he's just always, I'm so happy this is my wife. And his wife just looks fucking miserable. Because she's a weird Christian chick too, right? She was raised and brainwashed with all that shit. So she thinks the Bible is telling her that she's got to stay with her husband and that he did pray the gay away. And, her sex life is shit. Supreme Court hears arguments over ban on conversion therapy. All right. Trouble with the word ban, right? This is how me, Mr. Non-right, non-left goes. Why are we banning it? If stupid fucking people want to pay their church, whatever, X amount of dollars so that the church can make them not gay anymore, and they're bought in on the concept like they think it's real, I say all the time, guys, we know how to stitch a wound, fix a bone, do open heart surgery, remove a tumor from the brain, but we don't know shit about the way we are mentally. So if these people have convinced themselves that this is something that could work for them, why on earth would we fucking ban it? Don't ban it. People want it banned for what reason? Are you... If you're in gay conversion therapy, that seems to be freedom of choice. It seems to be something that you think might work. And it also smacks of the government getting involved in a little bit of fucking religion medley. You know what I mean? If weird ass religions want to do their weird ass shit like gay conversion therapy, then maybe they should be allowed to, and the rest of us ought to butt the fuck out. No pun intended. Yeah, that's what they do there. They do a lot of butt the fuck out there. Government shutdown is in its 7th day. Day 7 of the government shutdown. I ain't felt it. I don't know. Not going to the Grand Canyon, not flying. I'm still getting my mail. I still get to watch the president do the Trump show at 10:30 every morning. Today, starring the Prime Minister of Canada. It's great. But apparently, if you're one of these people who flies, yeah, you're feeling it, because 12 Federal Aviation Administration facilities saw staffing shortages Monday night. The control towers in Burbank, Phoenix, and Denver had so-called staffing triggers reported in the public FAA operations plan. Other facilities that handle air traffic around airports in Newark, New Jersey, Jacksonville, Florida, Chicago, Washington, and Indianapolis also were short-staffed. So we don't pay air traffic controllers when the government goes out. Is that what's happening here? People are calling in sick. Okay. All right. There you go. So that seems, it seems to me that we have all these mechanisms in place so that when a government actually shuts down, or when our government actually shuts down, it doesn't really hurt people. We're gonna make sure that the FAA is staffed. We're gonna make sure that the post office gets their stuff. We're gonna make sure that, or whatever, the minimal things. The what did we used to call them during COVID? Important jobs or necessary jobs or whatever they were. Create all these levers so that we don't feel it. That's why it's not truly a shutdown. If it was truly a shutdown, it'd be like, nobody would be in Washington. The senators would not be grilling Biondi for their 30 seconds of, soundbite time. No air traffic controllers would be working. So I don't know what this is. Apparently some air traffic control. Are they not getting paid? Is that what it is? That's why they're calling in sick? Like, if that's the case, then is the expectation that when they stop getting paid, they're supposed to keep coming? Because why? Back pay will be there, and why not take your sick days or whatever? Now, I don't know. I guess if I was an air traffic controller, I'd have more information. Back to the story. Perhaps the most dramatic impact of the night was felt at Burbank Airport, where the control tower was entirely shut down around 4:15 p.m. Flights could take off and land, but they had to follow procedures that are typically used at small airports that do not have control towers. So here's what happened in Burbank. Burbank is a pretty busy airport, as you can imagine, nestled smack dab in the middle of Los Angeles. A lot of private jets, but also Southwest. Southwest has a bit of a hub there in Burbank. So it is a real airport. And it had no air traffic control yesterday. The helicopter shot or the drone shot or whatever that was showing, it showed this big, giant, beautiful, shiny, world-class control tower. And they told us that planes attempting to land at Burbank Airport had to be guided in by air traffic controllers stationed in San Diego. That doesn't sound safe, does it? That sounds, but whatever. Hey, man. The MTV Real World guy, who's our Secretary of Transportation, is out on TV telling us that safety is his number one priority. He's not concerned about the inconveniences due to long lines and, that kind of TSA not showing up. He's not concerned about that. Safety is his most important thing. So let's see how that works out. Fingers crossed. And by the way, this affects all of us, guys, because, planes crash on people. Plane that misses a runway is going to probably crash on the road or take out the Burger King that's across the street, maybe the Motel 6 or massage parlor or whatever. It's not just about the people that are in the plane. It's about those of us down below. Let's see here. Denver International and Newark Liberty International Airport saw ground delays where flights were prohibited from taking off until controllers were able to handle the load. So, okay. So if you're traveling, keep your head on a swivel. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. That's the ultimate, faith in institutions. That's like I started saying last week, I no longer have any faith in the institutions, the things that I used to be able to rely on. Certain news sources, I'd be like, well, I heard it in the New York Times, which always meant something, especially to somebody who went through journalism school. Okay. We understand that there are certain entities, institutions in American media that, are not the Babylon Bee or, whatever the fuck else, the Onion. New York Times, the Supreme Court, the executive branch, the lower chamber and the upper chamber all have let me down. The military, the defense, it's all fucking bullshit. I have no faith. The FBI, our Justice Department, I have no faith in any institutions anymore. But for some reason, many who feel the same way will be getting on a plane in the next couple of weeks going, yeah, but I'm pretty sure that, they got the air traffic thing all figured out. You know where my lack of faith in institutions actually began? And I've talked about this before, although I haven't connected it in quite this way. Began after that Malaysian airplane disappeared. Remember when the plane just fucking disappeared with like 500 people on board? It just disappeared. It's just gone. We don't know where it is. 5 minutes before hearing that plane disappeared, 5 minutes, if you had asked me, hey, Pugs, is it possible for a commercial airline jet carrying hundreds of people to just disappear off radar? I'd have said no. Fuck no. They got it handled. Are you kidding me? There are ground transponders everywhere. That plane is given a signal. We know where that plane... There is no way possible that a plane could just... What? This plane vanished? So that was kind of the start of me going, I don't know fucking shit. I don't know. Then another thing. Oh, here's another story. So I know a guy who committed a crime. Not a violent crime, but he committed a crime. And I'm one of the people who knows about the crime, right? Keeping my mouth shut because I'm a neighborhood guy. But I'm one of the people who knows about this crime that this individual... Oh, and just so nobody around here thinks that, I'm implicating somebody. Now, this is back in Chicago. This dude's a bit of a dude. Look, it shouldn't surprise you when you hear what he did based on his track record. But he's a good dude, and he committed a crime. And it was sloppy. And me and a couple other dudes were like, he is totally not going to get away with it. Well, it's been 15 years and he fucking got away with it. And here I am growing up watching CSI and all the, no, don't break any laws because they'll catch you. They don't fucking catch anybody. They don't catch anybody. So get rid of that institution. All right. Local law enforcement and, the DA and prosecutors and all that. Fuck that. That's garbage. I know firsthand a guy who... a big scam, and he got away with it. And now he lives in fucking Belize. Yeah, that's right. He's down there in Belize. With a big old bag of fucking money that he ill got. But you know what? God bless him. God bless him. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. All right. So institutions like trusting the TSA, trusting that when we get on that airplane, they got it figured out. It's fine. That's fucking bullshit too. So there you go. That's my rant on the government shutdown. It was meandering and made no sense, but I hope you enjoyed aspects of it. All right, let's move on. All right, let's talk about this story here. So apparently I just saw in the news that members of the Texas National Guard have landed in somewhere outside Chicago. It says outside Chicago. So I don't know where that is. Probably some military base in Gary, Indiana or somewhere. All right. So let's talk about the situation as it's been evolving. I've been talking about this pretty consistently, and it's a subject that I'm very interested in, and I'm very intrigued as to how this all plays out. Troops in our streets. Trump mobilizing the Texas National Guard for What is this? Is it to scoop up Mexicans who are making food in the restaurants on Lincoln Avenue in Chicago? No. This is a separate issue. This is to battle the crime in the war zone that is Chicago, which is bullshit. But as I've said consistently, there are areas of Chicago that are war zones that you don't want to go to, that I've never been to, that I grew up, spent my whole life there, never go in. I just don't go there. You call them no-go zones, but, it's not no-go because you're not allowed to. It's no-go because you live in the city and you're not a fucking tourist and you know where not to go. So some of those areas, as I've been talking about, specifically on the south side and Englewood in the near west side, some of these areas in Chicago are war zones. But why is that story and that brand, the way it's pushed, the narrative, at least nationally, bullshit? Because nobody who visits Chicago goes to these areas, okay? Unless you're visiting your cousin who lives at 63rd and Damon. And I would tell you, don't visit your cousin at 63rd and Damon because it's 63rd and fucking Damon, okay? But you don't do that, all right? So this idea that Chicago's a war zone, you see the videos all over of people, showing just amazing fall days in Chicago with people biking along the lakefront or kayaking in the river and all the restaurants and the street vendors and tourists. You see all this, and then ironically you have Chicago's a war zone. That's the real Chicago. The real Chicago is not a fucking war zone, okay? But I do concede that there are areas in Chicago where people, I don't want to say this, where people live every day in fucking fear. Like if you're like me, if I was broke in Chicago, and why wouldn't I be? I'm broke pretty much everywhere. But if I was broke in Chicago, like there are apartments that I could rent that would be, livable. But I would never in a million years rent an apartment in these neighborhoods because I don't want to live in fear the way the people who live in these neighborhoods that we take for fucking granted because they're poor people, the way these people have to live. All you fucking liberals. And by the way, I'm speaking to one in particular, my buddy. You know who you are. All you fucking liberals who are clutching your pearls about how this is madness deploying troops to these areas. It's not madness if you live in these areas. It's only madness if you're angry from 2,000 miles away because this offends some liberal stance you have on troops in our streets. The fact of the matter is that there are people in these neighborhoods who live their lives as American citizens in fear because bullets rattle through the windows in the middle of the night, and babies get killed in cribs, and grandmas get mugged walking to the bus stop. Nobody, none of you liberals are thinking of these people. You're just clutching your pearls and you're going, oh, that's terrible. Well, I don't think it is terrible. And I think it's high time we try and do something to clean up these neighborhoods. And if it means there's going to be militarized looking dudes on street corners with AK-47s, okay. Because that means there ain't 15 gangbangers hanging out on that corner making life miserable for everybody else. And if you're concerned about, well, what happens if something happens? Something fucking happens in these neighborhoods every fucking night. What happens if one of these National Guardsmen shoots somebody? Well, who was the person he shot about to shoot? Because to act like everybody in these neighborhoods are victims is also a lie, because they're not all victims. There are some really bad people in these neighborhoods. They are controlled by gang leaders. It's almost like warlords. By the way, I'll take you through the history of this really quickly. If you want to know how this all started in Chicago, it was because for years, for 30, 40 years, there was a there was a tenement, if you will, government housing in Chicago. It was called the Robert Taylor Homes. And it wasn't the only public housing, but it was the fucking biggest. And Robert Taylor Homes were about 30-story buildings, and there was probably 30 of them, and they all lined the Dan Ryan Expressway. If you ever saw a White Sox game back in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, you may have seen across the street these fucking awful-looking buildings that shadowed the stadium. Those are the Robert Taylor Homes, okay? Big. Hundreds of thousands of people lived in these tenements. Well, Bleeding Heart liberals came along in the 1990s and said, this is a terrible way. Bleeding Heart liberals, by the way, from California. This was a California initiative that was embraced by the city of Chicago and the mayor at the time. A bunch of people from out of town came in and said, we've got a plan to redevelop for these people to make their lives better. Remember, 30-story buildings, about 30 of them, all in one neighborhood for 50 years. We're going to tear down those buildings and we're going to build in other neighborhoods. We're going to build new housing for these people. And yeah, it'll be inconvenience for them a little bit because they'll have to move and some will have to change schools, but it'll be better for them. So they took a couple 100,000 people, many of whom are gangbangers, many of whom belong to a specific gang that operates out of the Robert Taylor homes. Many of these people were just picked up and dropped into other neighborhoods, other gang turfs. And that's when the wars began. That's when Chicago started getting the nickname Chirac. Why? Because liberals from out of town came in and disrupted the entire ecosystem of Chicago's gang scene. That's what fucking happened. And ever since then, Chicago, the numbers in Englewood have gone up. The murders on the South Side this weekend. Nonstop. Well, of course that's going to happen because when you're clutching your pearls and trying to do good for people without actually knowing what the ecosystem is, you fuck up and you make things worse for people because you wanted to swoop in from somewhere else and fix Chicago. Well, fuck you. That's what happened. That's why we have all of this crazy shit. And it's been for 20 years now. These neighborhoods have been erupting with turf wars and gang battles because, again, you took a couple 100,000 gangbangers from one specific turf and you just scattered them throughout the city and went, it'll be fine. It wasn't. And that's what's happening in Chicago right now. Don't let any fucktards on the right tell you different or any lefties tell you their story because that is the fact of what happened. So, Chicago police haven't been able to deal with it because this is a sudden massive eruption in gang violence in areas that they just weren't, prepared for because everything was pretty much settled. These people had this neighborhood, these people had this neighborhood, these people have this neighborhood. But no, now it's just like, let's just sprinkle in a general from this gang and move him here and see what happens. I'm sure they'll work it out. No. So that's what happened. That's how this whole thing started. So now we've got to live in this new system that has been bubbling over for 25 years. Here's the other fun fact. It's not nearly as bad as it was, say, 10 years ago. I mean, it has consistently been brought to normal levels to the point that I scream about all the time. Chicago isn't even close to one of the most violent cities in America. Regardless of what Jesse Waters is going to tell you, or who's the guy I saw, the guy who got his ass kicked by his neighbor, Rand Paul. Chicago is a war zone. Not anywhere you've ever been, Rand. Not anywhere you've ever been. I promise you that. Fucking Cubs are doing games in Wrigley. It's a war zone. No, it's not. Wrigley is actually really fucking nice. It'd be like if they dropped a goddamn baseball stadium in the middle of the Park Cities here in Texas. So I wouldn't go to Wrigley. That looks oh, fuck you. You are a coward. You are an absolute pussy. I wouldn't ride the train in Chicago. My fucking grandma rode the train every day till she's 80 years old. Not one lick of scare in 50 fucking years. But my big, strong Texas friends, they're like, I wouldn't ride public transportation in Chicago. Yeah, you've been whipped up into a frenzy by people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So 2025, here we sit. We got troops on the outskirts of Chicago. The Texas National Guard is being sent in, not for ICE or Customs or Border. That's separate. We'll talk about that in a minute. They're being sent in for the purpose of offering a military presence in these neighborhoods, ostensibly for the protection of the people there. Now, I think that's a byproduct of it. I really do. I think that the protection of the people in the neighborhood is just a byproduct. A good one, I'll take it. But that's not the reason for this. I mean, the reason for this is all, like the reason for everything that comes out of this administration. It's not substance. It's flash. It's sizzle. Trump and these people, they just want folks like you in Texas and Mississippi and Alabama or wherever the fuck this guy finds his crowd. They just want you to go, yeah, let's get them blackies, because that's what it's about. We're getting the Mexicans with the ice, and now we're going to get the darkies. You people don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So they're sending a bunch of kids from Texas. They're going to plant them there on street corners in some of the worst neighborhoods in Chicago. I mean, again, I'm trying to find the thing to hang on to. And the thing to hang on to is making these neighborhoods safe so that these fucking poor kids can play out in front of their house or play on the street or wherever. Yeah, poor kids play on the street. Yeah, we did it. You know, stick ball, whatever you want to call it, kick the can, play it in the street. Kids can't do it in these neighborhoods. They don't grow up that way. They live in their houses behind bars. They put bars on the doors and bars on the windows. So I'm hanging on to that. I'm hanging on to the idea that people might feel safer. And I have no illusions about the motivation of the president. The president isn't trying to make these people feel safer. It's a byproduct for people like me to go, well, at least this is a thing. It's a power move. It is an intimidation move by the administration, the executive. Hold on. It's a power move to sort of get at J.B. Pritzker, who's become the governor of Illinois, who's become a bit of a thorn in the side of Trump. But I worry about kids from Texas getting killed in drive-bys because this kind of shit is going to happen. There is going to be some interactions between the nonstop crime that occurs in these parts of town and the presence of out-of-state military. I would have felt a lot better if these were Illinois National Guard, but I don't know. JB can't see the compromise here. He wants to be president, or at least the fat vice president next time around. Because I think he's too fat to be president. And then I look at this President Trump and you're like, well, Trump's fat. Trump's as fat as Pritzker. And I'm like, Trump's different. Trump is an anomaly. Trump has 37 fucking convictions and he's still won. You can't compare any traditional political ideas or strategies to what Trump has done. He's blown it out of the water. He's a one-off. But yeah, so Trump hates Pritzker, so now he's going to send troops in, and Pritzker has said that the Illinois National Guard, or problems with the Illinois National Guard, whatever, but there is no reason. Can't Trump mobilize the Illinois National Guard and send them into these neighborhoods? No, he's sending a bunch of kids from Texas who don't know their ass from a fucking hole in the ground when it comes to this particular operation. They are just going to be out there to hold their guns, be targets for fucking incorrigible criminals. I think this will be bad. I think if it's Texas National Guard in these neighborhoods, I think it's going to be bad. It had the potential to be bad if it was Illinois National Guard, but this out of state, there's a different mentality. I worry about, how ginned up these Texas fucking National Guard kids are. Are they all fucking Charlie Kirk, MAGA, goddamn Fox News? Let's go in there and let's just fucking. Are they that, or are they're kids is what they are? I mean, that's a real problem. You bring people in from out of state, you bring people in who don't know the fucking area, and all they know is what they've heard from Jesse Waters and Sean Hannity over the past 10 years about Chicago. That's all they got in their head. These are the same motherfucking Texans who tell me I wouldn't ride public transportation. These are the same fucking kids. And now they're there in a street corner with all this nonsense. No idea the lay of the land. Ugh. How about this for a rant? I'll engage with the chat room in a minute, but I'm still going on this. Okay. So there seems to be an effort, and I've known just from my own personal experience on Twitter, this seems to be coming from righty people. Okay. There seems to be an obvious effort to sort of conflate the two different operations that are occurring in this country, and specifically when it comes to the city of Chicago. There is, a Kristi Noem-led ICE and Border Customs operation that is occurring in Chicago. It's occurring all over the country, but they have recently, in the last couple of weeks, gone really hard at Chicago. That is a police thing. ICE would fall under law enforcement and all of that. Border and Customs, the same thing, right? So that's going on. And that issue is centered around Broadview, Illinois. Broadview is a suburb of Chicago that bumpers on Chicago for all intents and purposes. It is fucking Chicago. It's just got a different name. Why? Because that entire area of Chicago, whether you're talking about Cicero or Maywood or Broadview, this was farmland back in the day. And Al Capone and the Chicago mob bought all the land because it was not inside Chicago. It bumpered up to Chicago, but it wasn't inside Chicago. So they bought all the land and they created their own bunch of suburbs. And these suburbs have been fucking mob run ever since. The outfit runs these places, okay? Capone's headquarters was right there in Cicero, right on the border of Chicago. Why? Because the Chicago cops couldn't touch him on this side of the street. So that's the area that the ICE and Customs efforts are being focused on. There also happens to be a large ICE detention facility there in Broadview. All right, again, Broadview, the mob stuff. The incident that occurred over the weekend here, let me show you this. I thought this was really interesting. Excuse me. I thought I had a video. I thought I had a really cool video of this guy. He's an old man from Broadview, and he's obviously all fucking mobbed up because he talks like that, and he just goes in on Kristi Noem. Let me see if I can find that. Where is it? Hold on. Let me see if I can find this. Because it is good. It is worth giving you the attitude of the average person who lives in this place where all of these ICE things are going on. Now, if you remember, this all stems from Kristi Noem walked into the Broadview city office, okay? Broadview, Illinois. She walked in and she wanted to have a meeting, or apparently she requested a meeting. She was told the mayor wasn't there. And then she wanted to just come in, and they wouldn't let her in. This is the Secretary of Transportation. And people in Broadview are like, yeah, baby, go tell your story fucking walking. We ain't worried about shoes. You know, that was kind of the attitude. She then said she wanted to use the bathroom, and she went on camera in her stripper heels and her skin-tight jeans. And she was like, I was just trying to use the bathroom. City of Broadview said no. Nah, she asked for a meeting with the mayor, and the mayor didn't want to meet with her, so we were told to not accept her, and then we told her to leave the property, and then she said she needed to use the bathroom, and we said no. That's fucking Broadview. You think Broadview, but first of all, half of Broadview probably voted for Trump, okay? They are those people. They are not liberals. They are conservative. They are gangsters. You know, there's a lot of gangster blood in Broadview. But their issue wasn't, as the national media will try and paint, look at these liberals. No, their issue was, fuck you. This is Broadview. We're autonomous. What are you, from the United States? Go fucking kick rocks, bitch. That's their attitude. Here, this is the guy. I want to show you this guy. This is just a dude, just a resident of Broadview. This ought to give you the attitude. And they're not taking kindly to all of this ICE bullshit, wrecking their restaurants and grabbing people off the street. So let's watch this guy. This is an old guy. This is the spirit of Chicago, this dude. Hold on. Make sure we can see this. Oh, we got to go to fucking TikTok? I don't want to go to TikTok. Hold on. Let's see if we can. This guy's name is Frank Spada. Frank Spada, he made a TikTok. I'm sure his grandkids helped him out with it. But this is kind of the attitude of the average guy. Call this fucking guy a libtard. Go ahead. Here he is, Frank Spada. He's got something to say. Oh, my God. Hold on.
You know,
there you go. Okay, here you go. There you go.
Hey, this is the Kristi Noem. You know, you got no fucking business being in Chicago anyway, you fucking slut. You know, they won't let you use the bathroom, well then wear a diaper like your fucking boss. And you shit your pants, you fucking piece of shit. Get the fuck out of Chicago. People just trying to start trouble and get this whole country into a turmoil. I think I'm sick and tired of it. This video probably won't go through for what I just said.
It went through, Frank.
Trump loves this fucking horror. You know, our country is run by a bunch of fucking bitches and pussies. The Republicans are all pussies. They lick Trump's ass twice a fucking day, and I'm getting tired of listening to it. So I don't think this is going to go through, but I will re-record it in about 10 minutes.
That's okay, Frank. You didn't have to worry about whether or not it was going to go true. It went true. Frank, you went true to the TikTok there. That guy is my spirit animal. That is like every old fucking man that I've had a drink with at a bar who tried to tell me about what life really was about. That guy is fucking awesome. That guy's not political. That guy's just sitting there going, look at these fucking assholes. We're a nation of goddamn pussies and cowards. All right. So when we see all of these videos and stuff coming out of Broadview or of Chicago and, you know, you're like, oh, liberal haven. No, it's not. It's hardworking, blue collar, regular, middle of the fucking road. We take it as we see. They don't vote for who they want in office. They vote for the guy that their boss tells them to vote for because that's the Chicago way. Machine politics. And that dude is straight out of machine politics. Look at this you fucking whore. He's talking to the Secretary of Transportation. That guy rules. All right, so here's what he's reacting to. Well, actually, I won't show you that video. We don't need to show you that one. But here, so I want to break something down for you because this is pretty personal to me. Hold on. Let me see. We'll watch this video. All right, so now again, this is a separate issue that I am discussing from the militarized troops in the neighborhoods, okay? That's a separate issue from the ICE and the border and the customs. All right, so let me show you this. This is kind of personal to me because this is my old stomping grounds. This is 63rd and Costner, man, right there, southwest side of Chicago. This happened over the weekend. 63rd and Costner, which if you've ever flown into Midway, this is the Midway Airport neighborhood. I grew up 81st and Tallman. This is the neighborhood where Marquette Park is or whatever. Palermo's, the finest thin crust pizza in the entire world, is like at 63rd and Kedzie. So right there, this neighborhood is not one of Chicago's war zone neighborhoods, right? So this went down in the middle. This was a Sunday afternoon at 63rd and Costner, which again, not a war zone neighborhood. This is people like me, all right? This is hardworking blue collar, a lot of cops, firemen, people like that live in these neighborhoods. These are the real people of Chicago. So this went down in front of everybody. Let's watch. All right, so what apparently is happening is, at least from the descriptions, and I hate with these videos because although this one is 4 minutes, they tend to be edited to support the narrative of the poster. So I don't know what I've read here is that this guy was snatched out of a car, two unmarked cars pulled up behind him, men in masks jumped out and tried to force him into their vehicle. Okay, so that is what we are watching happening in broad daylight in Chicago. Like we're fucking Mexico. This is the kind of shit that happens in El Salvador, in Mexico. Now, I don't have a problem with the idea of ICE getting violent criminals out of this country, but I do have a fucking problem with how they're doing it. This, no matter who you fucking voted for, is a bad look for America. And if that doesn't affect you, then fuck you. This is a bad look for the country that I love.
No.
All right, so he's fighting. Other people are driving by in cars. They're creating a scene. Obviously, this guy isn't going peacefully. I don't know if he's violent. I don't know the backstory on this. I don't give a fuck what the backstory is. What I give a fuck about is how does this look? Does this make me proud to be a believer in Jefferson's America? No, not fucking at all. This is some goddamn Banana Republic Central American shit that is happening at 63rd and Costner. Men in masks in military or authority uniforms are pulling people out of anywhere and trying to drag them into God knows where. This fucker's fighting, and he's got a little hottie right there. All right, let's see how this goes. So now people are starting to gather. Starting to get a little iffy for ICE. See, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know who the fuck these people are. They don't. This guy in the white shirt and the jeans and the mask. Who the fuck is this guy? He's not wearing any kind of badge or anything like this. This is just a dude trying to put another dude in a car that he doesn't want to go into. The fuck is that? That is not how we do it here in America. You are turning us into a third world banana republic. And why the fuck can't these alpha males handle this one dude? They are getting their asses handed to them. They're about to fucking give up. That's right. They fucking gave up. A missed opportunity to kidnap some dude. Let's get to the point where they fucking give up and go home like the rats that they are in their little fucking masks. And now they got him on a girl. Now here's this guy again. I don't know. I don't see a badge. I don't see any kind of markings. His face is covered. His face is covered because the lips are mean. Oh, fuck you.
Let him go. Get off him.
Look at, did you notice the funeral driving by? The cars you'll see with the orange fucking stickers in the window, those are funeral stickers. There's just a funeral going by. There you go. Another funeral car. God damn, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking unless you fucking hate Mexicans. Like if you're just like, yeah, fuck them, they ain't white, or if you're one of these people, then yeah, this isn't heartbreaking at all. But if you are an American who loves this country, who thought we were something different, that we didn't possibly have what it takes to slide into this level of depravity, you should be fucking appalled by this. There you go. Okay, here we go. They cannot get his hands zip tied. This fat little 5'4" fucking Mexican dude. And by the way, it's not like anybody's helping them. There's nobody's jumping in. They're just recording and watching and documenting. His mask came down. Oh, I hope he's not scared now. Let
him go.
It's fucking disgusting. Oh, here they go. They're giving up. There they go. No. And away they go. That's it. Whole family is cops. Just so you know. Just so you're not like, he's fucking anti. Fuck you. Whole family's cops. Every single one of them would have been disgusted by that. And if you're not disgusted by that, if you don't think that this president is fucking this whole thing up, which may have been a good idea, he is losing the fucking country. For what reason? I don't know. Maybe get us to forget talking about Epstein. That's really what it kind of feels like. Because we ain't talked a whole bunch about Epstein since he started doing this shit. Troops, military troops in neighborhoods that, definitely I think need it. I think that is something, an experiment we should try. But this, going about our cleanup like this, And I got to believe that video is probably very popular among hardcore Trump supporters. They love seeing that. Like, they think that is perfectly acceptable for this fucking country. And then there's my boys in blue. There's my CPD. Love my CPD. Talked on Saturday afternoon with a buddy of mine who's a retired CPD. Did 25 years. Shout out, Bo. CPD getting fucking caught in the middle of this whole thing. They're just like, CPD isn't understaffed enough. Like, they're not fucking constantly up against it with everything. Now, CPD is being called in to do crowd control between anti-ICE protesters and fucking ICE. And guess what's happening? ICE isn't recognizing CPD as different than the actual protesters. So ICE is now routinely just bombarding Chicago police lines with fucking tear gas. Like here.
Man. Come on, man. Y'all, you know that was fucked up. Y'all know that was fucked up. Y'all know that was fucked up.
Fucking tear gassing CPD. So let me ask you.
None of us get paid enough for this.
So let me ask you, MAGA people. There you see boots on the ground every day. Your kid's coach, your neighbor, American law enforcement, cops, city cops, regular guys. And you see them being tear gassed by your government jackbooted authority. So let me ask you, you law first, you law enforcement people, whose side you on there? The fucking federal authority in their uniforms and their masks, or the fucking police officers that protect you every single day? It's fucked up. What's happening in Chicago is fucked up. And now there's CBS report from last night where they've compiled at least 5 instances where ICE officers have called 911 on protesters for doing shit that they didn't fucking do. But the ICE officers are making these fake 911 calls so that they can get Chicago police to respond so that they can be put in the middle of all of this. CBS News in Chicago yesterday reported that there have been 5 instances where ICE has called 911 reporting immediate danger where there wasn't any fucking immediate danger. They just wanted to rope in the Chicago police. Chicago police are responding to 911 calls related to these things. Chicago police are not, on orders of the mayor, Chicago police are not acting in conjunction with ICE or Border and Customs. And the way ICE and Border and Customs are getting around that is they're making fake 911 calls so that the police have to fucking respond. This is a gang of street thugs, man. I'm sorry. This is not the way my government is supposed to operate. Having said all that, I'm still okay with sending some troops into some really bad neighborhoods and see if we can't scare some gangbangers. It's very complicated. This is a velvet glove kind of thing, okay? The ICE and Border Customs aspect of it all is not being handled with a velvet glove. It is just big, dumb fucking guy with a club just hitting people. All right. Speaking of big, dumb guys, let's talk about Mark Sanchez, because I got to tell you, I've been chomping at the bit to talk about Mark Sanchez. Oh, my God. Dan Dakich. First of all, let's talk about Dan motherfucking Dakich, who I can't believe still has a job. He's a sports writer, I believe, in Indianapolis. Dan Dakich, upon hearing that Mark Sanchez was stabbed, went on this screed on Twitter about homeless, or not homeless, but fatherless African-American children. Yeah, this like regular member of the media, after hearing Mark Sanchez got stabbed, went, we shouldn't be surprised what with Indiana's high fatherless black children rate and the amount of crime on the street. Fuck you. Man, the right really wanted this to be. You know, seriously, if you fucking heard the Mark Sanchez story and immediately went to, it was a Democrat-led city, you're fucking crazy. You're nuts. You're radicalized into only seeing things through that lens. And a lot of you are. A lot of you are. I'd say a good 70% of us here in this country cannot see through any lens other than Republican or Democrat. So anyway, as it turns out, Mark Sanchez is the asshole. Hey, maybe that's convenient. His name is Sanchez. All right, let's see if we can get that MAGA social media bullshit ramped up to, play the Mexican angle. See? Let's check Mark Sanchez's papers. Can we get ICE over to the hospital there where he's recovering from multiple chest wounds? Stab wounds to the chest. So here's the story. The first story, by the way, there's a whole bunch of videos out there, and I'm kind of glad that I waited for the dust to settle on this, because if I had gone early on the Mark Sanchez story, I'd have had a whole bunch of stupid shit. I'd have been ranting about Grubhub drivers and all this. Like, that was the original thing. Mark Sanchez got into an argument with his food delivery guy about where he parked. That was the original story. I mean, that after Dan Dakich blamed fatherless black kids. The immediate next story that started to take root was that it was a Grubhub driver and that Mark, just got into it. And then you see all these people commenting like, yeah, they're so rude. Grubhub, those food delivery. Oh, fuck you. All right. That was early. That's what I believe. Turned out it was a food delivery guy, except it wasn't, it was a commercial level food delivery guy. Here's what happened. Mark Sanchez apparently accosted an old man, 70-year-old dude who drove an oil recycling truck for restaurants. You know, the trucks that pull in and then they take your French fry oil or whatever the fuck it is. They do something with it. I don't know. I've worked in restaurants. These people come pretty regularly. So a 70-year-old guy, 12:30 at night in Indianapolis. He's fucking reeking of Crisco. He's got a hearing aid, too. The guy can't hear real good because the truck is loud, and so he has to wear a hearing aid. This guy's working at 12:30 at night. He's a fucking third shifter, this dude. Salt of the earth. And here comes Mark Sanchez running down the alleyway, yelling about how he can't park there. Mark Sanchez says, I talked to the manager. There's the manager needs you to move your truck. Now understand, this was behind a hotel restaurant on a loading dock. The truck was backed into the loading dock the way trucks are supposed to. And now you got fucking failed NFL quarterback. Although, I've had to re-examine Mark Sanchez's career. He's not really a failed quarterback. He's not. Butt fumble be damned. Mark Sanchez took a team to the championship game in the AFC 2 years consecutive. So that's not really failed. Point is, here comes Mark Sanchez. Move the truck. The manager says so. The guy, truck's running, very loud. Already can't hear. Got hearing aids in. He sees this dude coming towards him. He rolls the window down. He starts to engage with him. He can't hear what Mark Sanchez is saying. But he does recognize very early on that Mark Sanchez is agitated. He also didn't recognize him, at least from what we've been told so far. Hey, let me show you this guy. Let me show you how it ended. Okay, this is what the man who stabbed Mark Sanchez twice looks like. Here you go. It's him from his hospital. I don't even know if we have his name. I don't know. Look at this guy. Look at this old man, Mark Sanchez. Okay. Why, we don't know. Dude says Sanchez smelled like alcohol, so he's probably drinking. Sanchez tried to get in the truck. Like, is he going to move the truck? The guy got out of the truck, out of the passenger side, ran around the back of the truck. Mark Sanchez exited, then chased him around the back of the truck. At some point, Mark Sanchez began to push and shove, which caused the old man to fall. At which point, Sanchez jumped on him and started beating the fuck out of him. Mark Sanchez, who receives like a giant multi-million-dollar a year contract from Fox to be the handsome former quarterback on D-level broadcasts. Yeah, that's right. You're not going to see Mark Sanchez in any good games. Mark Sanchez will handle the Cleveland Browns versus the Jacksonville Jaguars game. That's where you'll see him. Him and Spiro Ditas or whoever the... So he's not like even a big name, but he's got a great career. He's made like $20-30 million guaranteed over the length of contracts in the NFL. So he's got money, and he's beating the fuck out of this old man at 12:30 on a Friday before he's supposed to call the Indianapolis Colts game that Sunday. The guy was battling Sanchez, who was on top of him and pummeling him. when he reached into his pocket and pulled out a knife. Stabbed Sanchez a couple of times with the knife. Sanchez got up and moved away. The guy was able to stumble to his feet, only to find that Sanchez had now found another burst of energy and was coming at him again. At this point, he stabbed him twice directly in the chest. Oh, he also pepper sprayed him. We need to mention that. He also pepper sprayed him. Let's see here. Here we go. We got video of Mark Sanchez stumbling after being stabbed into a nearby bar. Let's watch this. So Mark Sanchez just beat up an old man, got his ass whipped for it with 2 stab wounds to the chest. He comes out of the alley, stumbles around the corner, and this is what we see. Mark Sanchez coming into a bar. There he is. All right, so there he is. Apparently he's stabbed right here. You can see some. Why? Can we just... Every fucking phone in America has like high def 4G, whatever. Every phone in America, every security camera in America has absolute shit quality. Why is this not in color? Why is this not crystal clear? Why can't we see the fucking blood coming out of his chest? Come on, man. And also, why don't all vending machines take a fucking debit card? Seriously, vending machine people, you are leaving so much money on the table. I can't tell you how many times I would have bought something on one of your stupid vending machines, but I didn't have cash. You know why? Because it's not 1997 anymore. And I want that Nestle bar now. All right, here you go. He's stumbling. Shit. There, all right, there you can really see it. Handsome Mark Sanchez. All right, there you go. All right, that's just the video there. Let's go back into Sanchez's history, because I was like, is this a bad dude? Like, I seem to remember something. Like, I was like, I remember some kind of scandal with him with the Jets. And I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Like his second year with the Jets, he was like 24 years old, and it was revealed that he had like a 16-year-old girlfriend who was still in high school. Yeah, that's weird, but not terrible. I mean, it's terrible. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. It's whatever. It's not like, you know, I don't know. It's weird. Okay. It's weird. You're a 24-year-old quarterback for the New York Jets, and you're dating a girl in high school. Do you know how many supermodels there are out there who would love to go out with you? And he's dating a girl in high school. So that is weird, but it's not as disturbing as this. Back in 2006, Sanchez was arrested after a female USC student accused him of sexual assault. Sanchez was Sanchez was released from jail the following day and suspended. On June 3rd, 2006, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced no charges would be filed for the USC glamour boy quarterback. Though he was disciplined by the football team for underage drinking and using false identification on the night that he was arrested. On April 13th, 2013, Sanchez, while still a free agent, was suspended 4 games by the NFL for using performance-enhancing drugs. Roids. He's a roid guy. I wanted to mention that because if he's got a history of being a roid guy, and Mark Sanchez is still pretty yoked, if he's got a history of being a roid guy, that might explain some of this unhinged, violent, aggressive behavior he showed this 70-year-old working-class dude. Let's see. We go through the full police report, but I feel like I kind of gave you the hits there. Oh, here's his most famous play in the NFL, which is kind of uncool because, as I say, he led a team to the AFC Championship game 2 seasons in a row, and yet all we remember is the butt fumble. Here's the famous butt fumble. And you know what? It's been years since I've watched this. It's not nearly as funny or interesting as I seem to remember it being. But anyway, here you go. Back with the New York Jets, the famous butt fumble from Mark Sanchez.
Years ago, we talked to Tom Moore, then at Indianapolis, the offensive coordinator. You got a busted play here. And then Sanchez gets hit. The ball is loose, and it's a lot.
Okay, it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. He slips and then slams into his offensive lineman's butt, and the butt causes the ball to bounce out. That's kind of funny. Let's watch it again. All right, so right there, 65. He ran right into 65's butt.
Years ago, we talked to Tom Ward at Indianapolis, the offensive coordinator. You got a busted play here, and Sanchez gets hit. The ball's loose, and it's alive.
I have never seen.
That is what Mark Sanchez's career is going to be best known for, the butt fumble. So what happens with Mark Sanchez, right? I mean, he's being charged now. What is it? They upped it yesterday. Originally, it was, we didn't know what happened. Then pretty quickly, the Indianapolis Police Department seemed to piece together what they thought happened, and they filed charges from the very, very start. It started to appear, or relatively quickly, because there was probably no information for about 5 hours. And then as soon as we started to get some information, it seemed fairly obvious that Mark Sanchez was the aggressor. Felony 5, a 5-level felony is what the Indianapolis police have charged Mark Sanchez with. That carries a 10-year prison sentence. That's a pretty serious felony. So what do I think is going to happen here? Well, I think Fox needs to fire him. Fox, right? Fox needs to cut bait right now. They just need to be like, yeah, apparently you beat up this old man. You need to go. Will he go to jail? No, he ain't going to jail. He ain't going to jail for this. He's gonna be on the hook for probably a fairly significant civil settlement. I mean, this old man is gonna fucking, as soon as the narrative becomes accepted as Mark Sanchez got drunk, he was hopped up on something, and he beat the fuck out of an old man. As soon as that narrative becomes the understood narrative of this thing, he's gonna write a check, a couple million probably. Hope he's got it, because he's gonna lose his job. There's no way Fox keeps him on TV. Although I don't know, Jeffrey Toobin got caught jerking off on a fucking work Zoom call, and CNN brought him back. That wasn't enough to make it so we can't. I can't look at Jeffrey Toobin on CNN now and go, that guy jerks off. That guy thinks it's okay to pull his penis out and masturbate in front of people he works with. He thinks that's okay. I can't get past that. There is nothing else that Jeffrey Toobin can say that I won't go, yeah, but he also thinks it's okay to masturbate in front of coworkers. I'll never get past Mark Sanchez, right? Every time I see him now, I'll be like, that fucker went nuts on an old man and tried to fucking kill an old man. What if the old man had died? I mean, seriously, this could have gone really squirrely for Mark Sanchez. He's probably lucky that he's the one that ended up in surgery with 2 chest wounds. I don't think he's going to get any jail time, though. I think Mark Sanchez will do what celebrities do, and I guess it's a first offense, right? First violent offense. He'll get himself some really good lawyers, and probably pay a big fine. Have to do some community service, because Mark Sanchez is a big star in Indianapolis. They love him there. He'll do some community. He'll make a video, and he'll write a giant check. Suffice it to say, the 70-year-old man is probably never going to have to work again, if he can even work again, because we don't know the extent of his. All right, so quickly, and we'll wrap it up with this. Mark Sanchez has always struck me as an asshole. Always seemed like an asshole to me. Never liked him. First of all, NFL quarterbacks are almost all assholes anyway. The only NFL quarterback that I've met, or the only NFL quarterbacks that I've met that weren't assholes, I can name 3. I've met a lot, and they've all kind of been like, yeah, that guy's kind of a dick. Like you can see like, oh, that guy kind of thinks his shit doesn't stink. Joe Theismann is fucking awesome. Joe Theismann was just like a regular dude. Jim McMahon, he's like your wild friend. No airs. Jim McMahon doesn't think he's fucking famous. Maybe he's not, but to me he is, and he acts like a normal dude. And I'm going to say Tony Romo. Romo was really cool. Now, I didn't know Romo when he was famous, but I knew Romo when he was a third stringer, right? When Kelly was dating Tyson and we were hanging out with all those guys, we used to go over to Tony Romo's house after the bars, his apartment, play video games and drink and all that. He was a great dude, just a normal guy. I mean, I don't know what he became after he became Tony Romo, but quarterbacks in general are assholes. I'm sorry to break some hearts here, but I've heard some absolutely atrocious things about Troy Aikman. That's right. Apparently Troy's difficult. Tom Brady is like impossible to be around. Ask anybody who's been in his personal orbit. Tom Brady's a fucking weirdo and really hard to be around. I also have a friend who played on the offensive line for Peyton Manning back when Peyton Manning was in college. And that friend tells me Peyton Manning is the biggest dick he's ever met in his life. So For me to think that Mark Sanchez is probably a douchebag and looking at him and going, he gives me douchebag jerk-off vibes, I feel vindicated now. Now that we know he runs down an alley yelling at a 70-year-old man who's just doing his third shift job at 12:30 on a Friday. A shit job, too. Cooking oil is gross. He fucking reeks like Crisco. That's a bad job. We now know that Mark Sanchez is the kind of asshole that says, hey, motherfucker, I'm more important than you. You're going to do what I say. So fuck Mark Sanchez. I'd love it if he got 10 years, but I don't think he will. I think he's a celebrity. And remember, I have no faith in institutions, and that now carries over into local courts. Let's see here. Saturday Night Live debuted their 51st season. On Saturday, we did a live stream here. We watched it live. About 3 of you hung out with me in the chat room. That's okay. You 3 are my ride or dies. We'll go to the ends of the earth together. It was hosted by Bad Bunny, and the musical guest was Doja Cat, 2 celebrities who a year ago, I had no idea if they were men or women. No idea. I would bet that Doja Cat was a guy. I thought that was a guy. Bad Bunny, I would have thought was a girl. Turns out, reverse those. Bad Bunny hosted. He pissed a lot of people off because he's not going to apologize for taking the Super Bowl thing. And he made a joke about how, for those of you who are confused by all of this, you've got 6 months to learn Spanish. Oh, that triggered. He knew what he was doing. That triggered the expected ones. I ain't learning Spanish. Boycott the NFL. I'm like, oh, fuck you. Yeah. I ain't watching the Super Bowl. Huh. So you're going to watch the whole season. And you're not going to watch the Super Bowl. Even if your team's in it, oh, boy, that'll be great. That'll be great. I'm keeping receipts. A couple of people that I know, they said that I ain't watching the Super Bowl. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep that post because I am certain that they'll be talking about the Super Bowl when the Super Bowl gets nearer. So let's do a rundown. If you are on the right, these are all right ones. If you're on the right, you know who you are. The people who hate cancel culture. Let's do a tally where we got Disney. We don't like Disney anymore. Fuck Disney. Cancel your Disney subscription because of Jimmy Kimmel. Right? Super Bowl. Can't watch the Super Bowl. No fucking Super Bowl because of Bad Bunny. And what's the other one? Netflix. That's right. Did you cancel Netflix? No Super Bowl for you. No Netflix for you. And no whatever the original one was. Disney. No Disney. No Netflix. Oh, my God. You can't go to theme parks. Can't watch Star Wars movies or Marvel films. Nope. No Disney is in your world now. No Netflix either. Can't watch anything on Netflix. And you better not fucking watch the Super Bowl. Party of we hate cancel culture. You got 3 big ones going right now. When are you people going to get your heads out of your asses and go, these people who are forcing me to go on Twitter and say, I'm canceling Netflix are fucking manipulating me. That's just stupid. You're just a bunch of stupid people. Stop it. You're better than that. All right. Saturday Night Live sucked. There you go. Long story short, absolutely sucked. There was one funny sketch. It was a pre-produced ChatGPT sketch about ChatGPT's AI assistant is no longer, what you would expect. It is now your Mexican uncle. Well, I don't have a Mexican uncle, but I still thought that sketch was very funny. ChatGPT. Everything else sucked. Everything else was just like, we say the same thing that we say every year with SNL. With the SNL debut. We always say they had 6 months to write a killer show, and they don't. It's always the first show is always garbage, hot garbage, and it was again. All right, so there you go. There's my SNL review from a guy who loves SNL. I understand what SNL is. SNL is going to have 5-6 episodes every year like this one where I'm like, yeah, that fucking sucked. But they're also going to have 5 or 6 sketches, and I'm going to be like, that's brilliant comedy. That's brilliant satire. So you balance it, right? I'm a very nuanced cat, right? I'm not an absolutist. Just because I like chocolate doesn't mean I hate fucking vanilla, right? I'm very nuanced. Stop it. What else do we have here? Hey, see, RG3 got into a car accident in Fort Worth. I saw that also over the weekend. I don't know what it's about. I don't really care. RG3 runs his mouth. I don't really like him very much. But I didn't know that he was a resident of Fort Worth. Does he live out that way? He doesn't live in Fort Worth. He lives in like the Colonial, right? Which I guess is Fort Worth. Or he lives like in South Lake, probably. Something like that. What else do we have? Oh, man, that's such a great story. But I feel like I got to wrap this show up. I got to wrap it up. I'm sorry. Let me tell you a couple of things, though, as I wrap up. A couple of things that I've been watching. We like to do that on the show. I like to keep you abreast on all the things that I'm killing time with. Let's see here. So, what do I want to start with? Oh, man, I got this great story about alien hybrids. I got an update on the Nirvana lawsuit. Okay, all of that will be tomorrow. I've done too much today. Spent too much time on the Chicago stuff. I shouldn't. That's near and dear to my heart. So, okay, what did I watch? I watched a new thing on Prime over the weekend that I can highly recommend. I found it absolutely fascinating. I believe it's a 3-part, 1-hour docu-series on Prime. It's called Cocaine Quarterback. Cocaine Quarterback. Let me share this with you in case you're interested. You might be. I'm telling you, it was never heard of this documentary before, never heard of this story before. But here we go.
In the early 2000s, the USC Trojans were a college football dynasty. What was their secret? Their All-American quarterback, their electrifying running backs, or some guy who rode the bench named Owen Hansen?
Yeah, Owen, he may not have done as much on the football field, but he was probably the MVP outside of the Coliseum walls. Turns out that Owen was smuggling steroids.
If you're like, I want 3 pounds of frankincense, he's like, I got it.
He drifted into some darker pastures.
Say hello to my little friend.
He's national champion at USC, turned kingpin.
They've been described as villains worthy of a Martin Scorsese film.
Flew in private with like 40 keys of heroin, coke, guns.
Like 50 kilos in the trunk of my car.
I didn't ask questions because I didn't want to know.
Just see that nuts went, yeet! I was already planning who I was going to hit first. What's the Pennsylvania law against defacing a tombstone?
They were stupid idiots. His business partner was the Sinaloa cartel.
That's crazy, right?
He did say, the less you know, the better.
I regret the day I met this guy. He lost the money, and he panicked about it. If you with me, I'm coming for you. But other than that, I'm a nice guy.
He just went full steam ahead as if this was a major at USC. Drug, empire, kingpin. Let's do that.
My name is Owen Hansen, federal inmate number 50825. With some surfer kid from Redondo Beach. What have I gotten myself into?
All right, there you have it. It was so good. It's on Prime. Cocaine Quarterback. It's a bit misleading. He was not a quarterback. I don't get the name. Why did they call it Cocaine Quarterback? He wasn't a quarterback. I don't even know what he was. He was a bench rider. He didn't play offense. I think he was a defensive guy. But they called the series Cocaine Quarterback, whatever. Why? Maybe they're trying to loop in the whole Matt Leinart, Mark Sanchez, era of great USC quarterback. Great. Well, they were great at USC. Anyway, it's fascinating. This guy was a bench rider. He got into like one game or something, but he was a part of that. He was a part of that war machine that was the early 2000s Pete Carroll-led USC Trojan football organization program, whatever you want to call it. You saw in there, saw a bunch of us. You saw Lendell White. He's like a godfather. He was friends with all of these dudes. Friends with Matt Leinart, friend with Reggie Bush, friends with all of these people. And he turned into a drug kingpin who was in business with the Sinaloa cartel. It's on Prime. It's called Cocaine Quarterback. It's really interesting. Really interesting. So then I was like into a whole, me, I love the documentaries. I find a good one that was interesting to me. So after I watched Cocaine Quarterback, I'm like, I want another documentary. So I happened to subscribe on Prime to BBC Select. 1 week free. Don't worry, I already canceled it. I subscribe for, get the free week, right? And then I watch what I want to watch, and then I unsubscribe. And there we go. So what did I want to watch on BBC Select? I had heard about this documentary special. A couple of months back, it aired on the BBC in England, and it was like a big hit, and everybody was talking about it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. If I ever get access to BBC, I'd like to watch this. So I'm looking around for a documentary to watch. I joined BBC Select because they got great documentaries. And I find this. It is the BBC investigative docuseries. Again, I think this is 3 parts, 1 hour each, into the life and crimes of Ron Jeremy. Yeah. Needless to say, I was quite intrigued at what this could be about. Ron Jeremy is somebody that I've known since the mid-1990s. Ron Jeremy is a dude who did every radio appearance he was ever asked to do. And he was in, he traveled the country. He did all of these, Porn Expo 98, right? Or whatever. And he'd come into town and he'd promote it by going on the local radio show. When I moved here to Dallas, I became friendly with somebody who didn't just know Ron Jeremy the way I did, which is as a radio host, and he's a guest who has come on and done a couple of shows over the years. No, this person that I became friends with here in Dallas actually knew him, allowed him to live with him for a period of time when he was, traveling around. And because of this connection, Ron Jeremy became a bit of a regular on the Pugs and Kelly show. Not so much a regular on the Pugs and Kelly show as he became on Richard Hunter's Wild Ass Circus on 105.3. And that was because my partner, Kelly, didn't like the man. My partner, Kelly, always had a problem with Ron Jeremy. Not because he was a porn guy or because he was gross. We had porn people. We had some very good friends who are porn people. Just nice people. They were nice. So she didn't judge people for that. Hell, the guy we're talking about, Bruce X. Okay, Bruce is no longer with us. Bruce is the one that was friends with Ron Jeremy. Bruce X is probably the nearest person to my partner, Kelly, of anybody in this town. Kelly and Bruce were best friends. Not sexual, not romantic. They were best friends. So when Kelly doesn't like Ron Jeremy, it's not because she's just but she just didn't like the guy. She got a bad vibe from him. Remember one time we all went out to dinner, and I convinced Kelly to go because it was Bruce. Bruce said, "Would you Ron in town?" And hey, let's all go to dinner. So we went to dinner at the Green Room, which was my favorite restaurant back in Deep Ellum back in the day. So we all had dinner in the Green Room, and Ron Jeremy was, and maybe this is a part of his brand, an incorrigible pig of a man. And Ron Jeremy thought that he could just eat off Kelly's plate. And I'll never forget this at dinner. And we talked about it on the air and we made fun of it and all that kind of stuff. But Ron Jeremy took his spoon and reached across the table onto Kelly's plate and took a big scoop of food and then ate it while making eye contact with Kelly. Kelly, because she's the baller of all ballers, just sat back in her chair, pushed her meal forward to the table and said, "Well, I'm fucking done," while staring right at Ron Jeremy. To which Ron Jeremy then we all share. I come from a family. We all share. And then Bruce, poor Bruce, who sees that Kelly is fucking pissed. Kelly, his good friend, Ron, his good friend. He's now trying to play peacemaker. Well, you got to understand, you're going to eat with Ron. Ron's going to eat off your plate. I'm sitting there watching this whole thing going, ooh. But yeah, no, she fucking hated him. She knew that there was something off with him. Me, I never got that close to him. I hung out with you, come into town. Hey, you want to go run around with Ron Jeremy? Yeah, I do. I do want to run around as Pugs from the Pugs and Kelly show. I do want to run around to clubs tonight with Ron Jeremy. Why? Because that's a cool scene. And I will tell you, I have been in the company of some pretty famous people, whether they're stand-up comedians or, actors or rock stars or all that. I've been out in public. Hey, let's just go to this bar with this guy who's in this band, right? I've been around famous people, and I have seen the way people come up to famous people and say, "Hey, man, I just want to tell you I love you." I've seen that, right? I've seen it pretty consistently over the last 35 years of me working in major market media. I have never, ever been with somebody more famous than Ron Jeremy. Yeah. Think about that. I've been out with Billy Corgan and Chris Farley. I have never been out socially with anybody who created the stir, formed the lines. Everybody came up to him. Ron Jeremy was a goddamn megastar on the street. Everybody recognized him. Maybe it's their dirty little secret, right? People don't openly talk about how they can recognize porn stars, but everybody fucking recognized him. He lived life like a goddamn god. It's another Ron Jeremy story that I wanted to tell real quick. Oh, the Grammy story, which I've told many times. So we went to the Grammys. And we went every year. We broadcast backstage and all that kind of stuff. My girlfriend at the time, who's actually my son's mother, my girlfriend at the time accompanied me on this trip, but she showed up late. I got there on like Tuesday, and she flew in for the Grammys on Saturday morning. So the Grammy presentation is happening, and she's all dressed up. She looks absolutely amazing. And, you know, so I'm doing the stuff that we do there with our badges and broadcasting, getting interviews and all that kind of shit. I didn't have a pass for my girlfriend at the time. Just wasn't a thing. So I had to figure out a way. How can I get her back here? I'm sitting at the table and I'm going, how do we get her? How do we get her back here? We need to get her back here. We don't have a pass. Does anybody have a pass? Yeah, but mine has my picture on it. You know, how do we get her back here? Ron Jeremy overhears this highly secure area backstage at the Grammys, a live broadcast, major A-list superstars everywhere. And Ron Jeremy goes, I'll get her in. So I'm like, I got to see this. So I go with Ron because Ron didn't know who she was. And I had to get her. And I said, Ron, he's going to get you in. I had my pass, so I could walk right past security if I wanted. Ron Jeremy takes her, walks through security. Ron Jeremy, mind you, has no fucking pass. He's just Ron Jeremy. He's got no pass. He walks past security. Nobody checks him. He's got my son's wife by the arm. He's leading her through security. Somebody stops her. Ron Jeremy turns and goes, she's with me. And the security guard, who was a lovely 40-something-year-old, heavy-set black lady at the Staples Center there, she turned and she looked at Ron Jeremy and goes, oh my God, would you look who's here? Oh my God. And they all started going, it's Ron Jeremy. I just love you. And he's like, oh, thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. And we're just going to keep up. And he got her right through. He got her right through. No pass, no nothing, no security. My point is, Ron Jeremy was fucking famous out on the street. Now, you might mention his name at your family Thanksgiving, and then 20 people seated around the table will go, I don't know who that is. Who is this now? Tell me more. I'm interested. But you get that fucker, you get these same people in a bar and have Ron Jeremy walk in, and they're going to go, oh my God. So that's who Ron Jeremy was. So yeah, I hung out with him. I wanted to surf that wake. I wanted to watch that. And I was a little entertained by him. He was definitely a weirdo, and he was definitely talking about him like he's dead. He may as well be. He was an eccentric, and he was interesting. And, those are the kinds of people that you can have a really good time with as long as you don't get too close and think, oh, this is my friend now. Because they're not your friend. You observe that. So that is my history with Ron Jeremy. When the rape accusations and all of that kind of stuff came out during Me Too, I was like, yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. Ron Jeremy was always fucking. Ron Jeremy was always, I can't tell you how many times that I would be out with him in a bar and some girl would come up to him, and then some 20-year-old would come up to him, and Ron Jeremy would disappear back into the limo and then come back having just had sex with some strange woman. That was his life. It's weird, too, because he was not an attractive man. He was just a mess. One of those same trips out to the Grammys. So we went out to dinner with Ron before the Grammys, and he took us to some massage parlor. He's like, oh, you got to go to this place. It's great. They'll give you a great massage. So me and my girlfriend at the time, this was not my son's mother, me and my girlfriend at the time, we're like, all right, we'll get a free fucking massage if Ron says it's all right. So we go into this weird Los Angeles massage place. There's a bunch of us, and we all are getting our massages, and then we realize Ron is fucking in the next fucking curtain. It was curtains. Like, what the fuck is going on? It was just so weird. The girl I was with, when it became obvious, because you hear Ron in the next fucking go, oh, yeah, baby, I like the hedgehog. My girl I was with was like, yeah, I'm getting out of here. And she got up, she got dressed, she walked out, and I'm like, okay, me too. And we went across the street, had drinks. Well, everybody else came. But it's a weird existence that this guy lived, where sex was always being offered to him because he is an icon of sex. And there are a lot of people with mental problems, especially young girls, who think that by having sex with him, he can get them into porn. That was his job. You have to understand, he had sex with thousands and thousands of young girls who were trying to get into porn. It was called the hedgehog test. Jim South, or is it Jim North who runs South Agency? No, I think it's Jim South who runs South Models. That is the #1 agency for representing porn stars in the world. Jim South. Jim South and Ron were best friends. If a girl came to Jim South and said, I want to be in porn, Jim South would send that girl, that little 20-year-old girl, over to Ron Jeremy's house. Because, of course, the idea is you want to do porn. Can you fuck Ron Jeremy? Can you do that? Because we can't have you on set and then all of a sudden you don't want to have sex with the ugly actor that we've paired you with or whatever, right? So he was that test for generations in porn. Women had to have sex with Ron Jeremy before South would sign him to a contract because that would mean that they'll fuck anything. And I saw some of that. I saw some of that. Now, I think the last time I saw him was around 2009 or 2010. And by all signs, he seems to have begun to fall into dementia and other things I never witnessed. Around 2012. So a good 3 years. I mean, he was sharp as a fucking tack. Ron Jeremy was a talker. Ron Jeremy was smart, like really smart, like could talk anything with you. Politics, world culture. He was a fucking smart guy. So these stories that we hear about him since like 2012, I don't know those stories. I do remember seeing him at Midway Airport once with my son in probably around 2013 or so, and he looked awful. And I didn't want to go up to him. I didn't want to, I was hiding. I was like, I don't want him to recognize me. As it turns out, he probably wouldn't have recognized me because apparently he's been declining senility, which is so weird because he's not that old. Anyway, BBC did a big documentary about this guy. And so I watched that this weekend. Here you go. Check this out. If you want to see it, it's really interesting. BBC does really good shit. And by the way, if you're a fan of classic porn like Christy Canyon and Ginger Lynn and people like that, they're all over this documentary. It's called Downfall of the Porn King, the Ron Jeremy story. It's on BBC Select, which now if you've got Amazon Prime, you can get it for free for a week. Now you don't have to pay a dime. Just cancel it when you're done watching. Here you go. I highly recommend this. It was fascinating.
Ron represented a good time in my life. Yes, we were having sex on film, but there wasn't anything tawdry about it. But when it all came out, I wasn't shocked. I think you did it, you sick. Ron Jeremy was the biggest porn star in the world.
Ron Jeremy is ubiquitous. He made it into the mainstream.
Ron Jeremy's shirts, clothes, cigars, his own dildo.
Every man I know is like, oh yeah, I know Ron Jeremy, he's a legend. Well, no, he's not a legend. The man's a rapist.
I never for a second thought Ron was a predator. Pervert, yes. Predator, no.
Jeremy is facing 34 counts of sexual assault. He's right up there against Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby as this celebrity sexual predator.
People don't want to hear bad stories about their heroes. They don't want to hear that that person's a predator.
I think there's hundreds of victims out there.
I want to went to a plea of not guilty.
It's pretty dark and really interesting. Really interesting. I mean, So what do I think? Do I think he's a rapist? No, not in the traditional sense of what we think of a rapist as. I think that he existed in a world where he never had to ask, and girls came and threw themselves at him. And if a 22-year-old girl was in his apartment, he's Ron Jeremy, there's a reason that she's there. That's the world he existed in. There are examples in this documentary series of flat out rape, where he flat out raped other porn stars. People he was not supposed to be doing a scene with, whether it was on a set or at a porn party, him walking up behind girls, pulling their dresses up and inserting himself. He did that a bunch of times. And that is fucking rape. And that is doesn't matter. They asked the question, can you rape a porn star? Of course you can fucking rape a porn star. You can rape your wife. You can rape anybody who is saying, I don't want to have sex with you right now, and yet you go through it. That's rape. Doesn't matter the profession of the victim or their standing in your life. And it seems like he was doing shit like that for years and years and years. I never saw that, but I don't deny it, just because I've seen enough of him out in the wild and how he behaves and how he is allowed to behave. Allowed to behave is another big point that they sort of drilled down on in this show. Allowed to behave. People just, that's just Ron. Like my friend Bruce, when Ron tried to eat off my partner Kelly's plate. Bruce immediately was like, that's just Ron. Well, that caught up with him. He ain't never getting out. He's probably going to die. If you believe the reports, he is in an incredibly bad place as far as his senility or his dementia is going on. He looks terrible. And there you go. Amazon Prime, BBC Select. Sign up. It's free for a week. You can watch any number of great documentaries that you... All right. I think that's going to do it, folks. Remember, one more time, we're going to be out there playing trivia tonight at Trivia Classic. That's the back nine in Addison. 4060 Beltline Road. We got all kinds of cool prizes. Also, get yourself all ready, because we're going to start in the next couple of weeks. Our partner, American Metal Whiskey, the Big Money Trash Trivia Tournament. You got to be registered and you got to play. So if you're already playing at back nine, you're covered. But if you haven't played yet, you want to get registered for the Big Money Tournament, you got to come out tonight. 4060 Beltline Road in Addison. I guess that's about it. All right, we good? Are we good? We'll be back tomorrow.